I think every working parent knows what it feels like to be in your day, back to back meetings, deadlines approaching, in your groove, and your phone rings. And on the other side of that phone is your child's preschool, school, daycare, and the pit of your stomach drops. Scratch, scrape of frustration arises because you know that your day, maybe tomorrow, maybe in 1 week, is derailed. I feel that too. And a lot of my work here is usually written from a place of wisdom, meaning I've had years or decades to process the emotions I was feeling in an experience, and I am on the other side of, evolving to understand what that means. Um, this one's different because I'm not there yet. But I think, when we think about behavior change and how we evolve as humans, there's really four stages, and all stages are necessary and all stages are normal. And what those stages are unknowing, awareness, action, momentum, and then identity. And when we write or talk from a place of identity, it's hard to remember what it felt like to be in one of the earlier stages where things weren't as clear. We didn't know what to do. We were still feeling a mix of emotions and we could tell maybe that they weren't exactly aligned with what we value and what we know is important in life. And that's where I'm at. That's where I'm writing from on this particular week. But there are a few tools that I'm using to help me reframe and help me create action to bring the feelings I have with who I want to be and the actions I'm taking to be closer and aligned all together. And there's four of them right now. The first is I have to versus I get to. You're not going to unhear it after I say this, but we say I have to so much in our life. I have to go get my kid. I have to work. I have to work out. And reframing have to get to reminds me that I'm in control of my own choices. I'm in control of my own life. I get to spend time with my kid. I get to find an environment that works for him. I get to understand him better as a human and as his like little growing personality. I get to work at night or work in the morning or flex my schedule so that I can balance what's happening at home and still deliver on my promises to my team. Get to is an ownership word and have to is a victim word. And reframing that helps me see the opportunities that I have to create moments and create connection, um, instead of just like check things off the box in my life. The second one I'm reaching for is two things can be true. I can have the reaction when my phone rings and I know my day is derailed, and I can still be a good mom. I can shift my work schedule, maybe take a step back, work at different times, and still be good at my job. We live in a world of finite, and truth is, life isn't finite. Life is messy and chaotic, and learning to give myself grace where things need to flex and remembering that two things can be true helps me be less rigid in my approach. The third reminder I'm telling myself over and over is begin with the end in mind. And for me, that's thinking about when I'm at the end of my life and my children or my loved ones or the people I've influenced are in that room with me, what do I want them to say? And I can connect to that really easy. Like, that's not a hard thing, at least for me, to envision. But what is hard is remembering that when in the moment. When I'm sitting at the stoplight and my son is screaming in the background, in the back seat, it's hard to connect to how I behave and how I act and the space I create in that moment is going to determine what the end looks like. And so taking the time to just connect to what I want reminds me not only that it's important, but it helps me reframe, like it helps me put it in a place of priority for a season. And then, the last one is more just remembering that a season of hustle is okay. I think, I personally lived a life of hustle and then almost, led to, it can be dangerous for me. And I choose to redefine those things differently in my life today. But it's okay to have a season of working in the morning and working at night and like going hard to manage all of the things that's happening, because I know I'll be able to step out of it at some point. So those are really the 4 tools that I'm reaching for from in the middle of this, this feeling. I hope, I don't think I'm alone in feeling, but I guess you guys can tell me that. And maybe in a few years I can write from a place of wisdom, but that's not today. Being human is messy, and that's okay. The one last thing I want to share kind of in this video or in this week is what you can expect for the month of May. So May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And as part of that, I'll be sharing excerpts from my memoir, Built for More. And that book is written to not just tell the life of my life as a high performer, but to show it, because I think there's 2 sides to every coin. There's the side we perform and we see on the outside, and then there's the raw emotions that are happening on the inside. And those emotions are what make us human. And this is a space, again, say it again, where we get to be human. So I don't just tell you as a gymnast, I show you what that mindset was as a teenager, the inner dialogue, what discipline felt like, not just what it looked like. I don't tell you I had an eating disorder. I show you what it's like to struggle with mental illness. I don't just tell you I was a partner and had 3 kids at home and it was like life was crazy and I was balancing the story. I show you what it looked like when the performance went off and the lights went off. What was the internal dialogue, the things I hid. And so each of the next 5 weeks, I'll be sharing pieces of that. And these videos will become a place where I can answer any questions. Again, my goal is not to tell my story, but to open a conversation about achievement, about mental health, about all of the things that just make us human. I hope to see you there.